and jumped not one, not two, but three of these fences, all again lined with razor wire. Which one of these Facebook profiles are you going to trust? On the surface, they look the same. It's a name that'll grab your attention just as fast as they'll grab your stuff and bounce. They've been known to start in Florida, but as of today, the game has changed. Internet service providers could slow down or speed up websites. Final exams through Sunday have been canceled. Instead, tomorrow night, 6 p.m., there will be a candlelight vigil here on campus. There were quite a few hits, but also many near misses. This giant oak tree that's here behind me, this is in fact a near miss. It is still rising, and it looks like the situation could be getting worse before it gets better. It only takes about 6 inches of water for you to lose control of your car. And if you're like me, you like to have them printed out, a paper ticket in your hand. But that is not going to work any longer at Panthers home games. It was an unexpected sight Monday morning on John Kirk's commute east on I-40.
I drive about 35,000 miles a year, so I see a lot of this, of people doing crazy things, but I've never seen something this bad.
A pickup flipped 6 times after a car hit the truck and kept going.
I couldn't believe what I saw. It was like, how did it flip like that all the way up to the service road?
Kenny Smith and his wife walked away from the wild wreck but didn't see who hit them. John Kirk did.
But I followed the car that hit him.
I decided I didn't want to wake up the next day and read in the paper that they were still looking for who hit them. I decided I'm going to follow them until I find out where they go.
Kirk says the driver got off a couple exits later, not speeding, just driving normally. He rode behind, flashing his lights.
Didn't stop. They turned in the parking lot of an office building and parked their car, and then I see a woman get out, older woman, and casual. Grabbed her stuff, grabbed her coffee cup, and walked to the office.
He got the license plate number and reported it to Highway Patrol. He later learned they arrested the suspect.
I've passed up things before saying I'm too busy, I don't have time, and this time I decided that's wrong. You know, we need to be good neighbors, we need to be good humans, and if somebody has a need and we have the ability to help them, we should help them.
At 99 years old, Carl Webb still has a gift to share.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Many people will say, nobody remembers me on my birthday. And I get your call, and it just makes my day. And when people come up to me and say that, it makes my day.
The Greensboro man got the idea at Westminster Presbyterian Church 18 years ago. He noticed a list of birthdays for the church members.
It didn't strike me right on the moment, but the following week, the light came on.
Carl had already made quite a career of singing in choirs, at church services, in barbershop quartets. This would be his high note.
I get a great joy out of it.
He keeps track of each birthday, phone numbers and names spelled out with big font next to the phone. Carl says he's probably made between 35 and 36,000 happy birthday phone calls.
When you know him, you know his warmth and you know his kind of authenticity and his sense of joy, and that just all comes through the phone.
Recently, he had to stop going to Sunday service.
Because of my inability to get around, I've had to stop going.
But Carl Webb is far from forgotten. Every year on his birthday, May 13th, he gets a song from everyone in the pews. Even though he couldn't be there, this year was no exception.
Yeah, we'll sing it all for him, just because he deserves at least one time.
Everybody has a gift to share. And at 99 years old, if you can see that you have a gift and you can make somebody's day better, what a life lesson that is to other people.
Really, that's what makes the world go round. People loving one another.
4 brave students from North Carolina A&T sat down at the whites-only lunch counter at Woolworths and asked to be served.
WFMY News 2's Alma McCarty looks back on some of those images through the eyes of someone who watched the movement unfold from the other side of the counter.
As you grow older, things naturally slow down. At 81 years young, Charles Bess embraces that slower speed most of the time. But he'll tell you it wasn't always that way.
You had to be fast.
The year was 1957. Bess had moved to Greensboro and joined the Mount Zion Baptist Church and got a job, first as a dishwasher, then a busboy at F.W. Woolworth on Elm Street.
The harder I would work, the behinder I would get. When I caught on to it, and everything, it wasn't hard for me.
It was business as usual behind the Woolworth segregated lunch counter.
We had been doing it so long until it was customary to us to keep on doing the way we were doing it.
Until it wasn't. The day was February 1st, 1960, nearly 6 decades ago, but clear as day to Charles Bess.
Took the young guys to get the ball rolling. We got sick and tired of segregation because it's holding them back.
Those young guys were 4 students from North Carolina A&T State University.
Ezell Blair Jr., Franklin McCain, Nick Joseph McDill, and David Richmond,
who sat down at the counter and asked for service.
One of the waitresses told them that, I'm sorry, we don't serve color folks here. And that's when one of them spoke out and said, well, why can't we be served here? Because we haven't broken no rule. We got money to pay. Why can't we be served?
Watching intently behind the counter, Charles Bess had no idea those 45 minutes the men sat there would become history.
Being a young busboy at that time, I never thought that I would be up here talking about the city right now.
Word got out and spread everywhere. The next day, there were cameras, media capturing the nonviolent protest in action.
The picture here was taken on the second day. I don't know why I was the only one caught behind the counter that day, but I was.
6 days of sit-ins at the counter ended in a bomb threat. The next week, Bess said business took a hit, and that continued for the next several months. Then, on July 25th, 1960, the supervisor told him he'd be one of the first to pass over to the other side of the lunch counter.
We're going to start serving color. We want our employees to be the first ones to be served.
Today, people passing by the lunch counter move at a much slower pace, observing the preserved piece of history at the International Civil Rights Center and Museum, and if they're lucky, meet a man who watched it happen in real time.
That was amazing to me on February 1.
Over a long life of marriage, raising kids, working and worshiping at the same church he joined when he moved to town, the brief moments of the sit-in movement could have faded away. But not for Charles Bess. Not after seeing segregation turn to integration right here in Greensboro.
I'm just glad that the Lord has spared me to be around here to tell the story of the city movement. It was amazing.